we've been working together. So, the podcast world's interesting for guys like you because I actually have a lot of clients who do what you do.
Hmm.
As PR is kind of like an interesting move. Let's talk about that journey for a little bit because and I kind of also I think it would be valuable for the listeners too, like who are trying to get on podcasts and do stuff like that. What have you? I mean, you've been working with us for about like 6 months now, correct? I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe a little bit more.
yeah.
Yeah.
Time flies, man. It's
Yeah. Yeah. Because we're
cheating.
already in month 3 of this year, so it's got to be longer than 6, right?
Yeah. I believe 6 or 7. So
Yeah.
what? Talk to me about first off your experience doing these podcasts. How has it been so far?
Oh, it's been great, man. It's really cool connecting with all these different it seems like everybody that has their podcast kind of like has a specialty, and then they kind of build their podcast, to kind of like support that to some degree, but a lot of times they're just, having conversations and learning more about what you're doing and everything. So it's been really really great conversations with some really cool people that are doing, very knowledgeable in lots of different spaces, from, finance to startups to like mortgages and like all sorts of crazy stuff. And then, it's a really great opportunity for me to, like I said, build the brand visibility, get our message out there to everybody, but in a very like organic way. That's not like, shoving your message down their throat. I feel like, right now there's just so much noise in marketing, like you're trying to go and like sell to people on LinkedIn. Like it's like impossible with how much spam everybody gets all across the board. Email marketing is overly spammed, like this is a nice way. People like listening to podcasts. It's a nice way to kind of organically bring up your expertise without like really like shoving it down their throat, So I've really liked it. It's been really good, exposure for us and everything. And, we're just kind of getting the ball rolling, like, I mean, 6 months, it takes a while for the podcast to get recorded, get edited, get into the line to get posted and stuff. So we're really just starting to get some of the really momentum of that, starting into this year.
Yeah. So, and what have you like? If you could share with me some things you've noticed that have like maybe impacted your business in any way by doing these podcasts, what can you share with the audience?
I mean, we definitely get great traffic spikes whenever they come out. You can definitely see them in our analytics of, we have pretty stable, and then we have a nice giant spike in there. Yeah. And you're like, oh, that must have been a podcast there. So that's, so it helps with the visibility for us. We haven't necessarily gotten a bunch of leads growing out of it just yet, but again, like I said, like the momentum's still building for us. We're getting the traffic. It's helping to build the network. I'm getting a lot of connections on LinkedIn and stuff like that out of it. And I know like all these things, with software, it all happens a little bit organically, and it all takes longer than you want it to take. So, I know that we've planted seeds in a lot of listeners, and that, I'm confident that as this continues to grow, we're going to start getting a lot more outreach from them direct, because that's how it gets, is they learn about you, they do their own research, and then they have to hone their own idea before they're even going to come and follow you. So it's not quite, and we talked about this when we were launching the podcast, like my business isn't one where we're just going to see, immediate, like, lead generation the next day as one of these things come out. It's about growing the brand, growing the visibility, and just it's been a great, step forward with our marketing for sure.
Have you done a Google search on yourself recently?
No, I haven't.
You should.
I know.
Yeah, that's one thing that I did notice with your stuff. So I actually was looking your stuff up recently on Google, and you pop up pretty often.
Yeah.
Yeah, which has been a huge thing from the podcast space. So like, in terms of to hear it from your words, if anybody else wants to do what you're doing that's in your space or that's kind of running an agency, why do you recommend them to do podcasts if they should?
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, it's kind of two-stepped, right? Because like I'm growing the brand, but I'm growing my personal brand. Like this is, I have this company, but I have, I'm an entrepreneur, and I have lots of other ideas, and we're already starting to build some of our own other products and stuff and everything. So podcasts are giving me the ability to raise my personal brand as an authority in the space, and it's going to give me more opportunities to be able to transition into new companies, build new businesses and everything like that, because now people, I have a bigger stake, people, a bigger network, people know who I am. They trust me. They see that I've, successfully grown businesses before. It's a lot easier to kind of move that forward, form new businesses and relationships and everything. And then for the business, like I said, like doing sales outreach for my company is like really difficult. I've tried every sales everything, and it doesn't work. It doesn't, we're not a good sales company. We're good. What we have to do is market ourselves and raise our brand awareness and our brand authority. And the podcasts, help that. They help. So now when you're looking up, technology and, everything, when you're listening to these podcasts, we come up as an authority in that. It helps to raise the brand authority, helps to raise our visibility. It's giving us entrance into new markets that we don't have exposure to. We're, our team's all over the US, but we're based here in San Diego, and we have like a good network down here in San Diego and stuff. But this is helping us to connect with people that have, followings in lots of other areas as well as like nationally. And so again, it just helps to build the brand. I definitely highly recommend it. I think I've, sent you at least one or two people. I've talked to some, friends and colleagues about it and stuff because I really believe in the approach. I think it's like I was saying before, like,
it's new, but it works.
To your point, like it increases your searchability, it increases your traffic, it increases your brand awareness, and it does it all in a very organic way that doesn't feel overly salesy, and people love podcasts. Like, people love to just listen to them and like learn about new things. So it's just a great growing medium. And like I said, I'm confident in this approach, and I know I've already seen the great benefits that it's having, and I know as the wheels start really turning on this, that it's just going to ramp up, exponentially. So I believe it's, a great way to go, and especially when you're coupling that with, your normal marketing activities, it just helps create an extra anchor and an extra, growth stream.
Yeah, it kind of brings me to my next question is, do you recommend people to have this as a main source of marketing strategy, a supplementation to what they're doing? Like what approach? Because I think a huge thing that I've noticed is a huge educational gap on why podcasting is even a thing.
Yeah.
Like, why is it important? What's the point behind it? Should I do it as my main strategy? What can I expect from it? So from your perspective, from your experience, now that you've done it for 6, 7 months, do you recommend people to have it as like an add-on to already what they're doing, or do you recommend people to have it as like a main sole focus?
I mean, this is our like biggest focus, I think, in terms of our marketing outreach. Like we do a lot of messaging on LinkedIn and posting and stuff. We do a lot of like blog writing and thought leadership in that arena. But we're trying to get more into YouTube, but like, that's just one that keeps getting pushed down the pipe, as we trying to find time for it. But this is something that is it's easy for me to do. I can kind of be a little bit hands off it, where I don't have to do a lot into the strategy and a lot into like the ongoing, meetings. Your organization, books these meetings for me. I have them all set up within, my arranged calendar and stuff. I hop on, I have these great conversations with these podcast people, which are always just really fun. And we always like touch on different points. It's not like the same message every time, and then from here, this is kind of going to be like our main kind of PR marketing outreach. And then we're going to build other channels around that to kind of supplement that and grow that. But this is one of our main outreach. So I think it really depends on your size of organization and the sophistication of your marketing. Like if you already have a lot of, marketing things going on, this is a great add-on to your suite of, inbound. But if you don't, like, you don't have to like get a bunch of other things in place first to do the podcast. Like the podcast is a great anchor to then grow your blogging, grow your video production, do everything else. But because it's so natural and easy and doesn't require a lot of work and preparation necessarily, like I think it's a great thing to start with, and then you can build around that.
Is there like, just to finalize, is there like a cool story you could share with us on like a podcast that you did that kind of stood out for you at all? Anything?
I mean, I think they've all been really great. There's like I said, each one is just a fun new conversation with somebody that has a very unique perspective. They've already grown their business, and their business is successful in one certain area. So, what we talk about, changes, from time to time and stuff. I know I do remember like the Dark Horse Entrepreneur podcast. Like that one was super great because we just aligned like, we're, one dark horse to another, we were just on the same rhythm. We had a really great conversation, got some good, he has a really good following on LinkedIn and stuff. So we got some good publicity out of that and everything. And, he already talked to me about, doing like a follow-up. And so we're going to do, maybe in like 6 months or something, we'll do like a follow-up episode and, get back on there and stuff. But, all the conversations are really great, but there's definitely ones where you get where like, you just really jive with the person, it's a really great back and forth and everything. So, and then, like I said, and then you have this great conversation, and then in, 2 months or something, whatever it is, depending on their timeline, like you get this great pop out of traffic out of nowhere. And all of a sudden you're getting all this, exposure online and all this, people connecting with you and stuff like that. And it's just, it's so hands-off and easy, but it's so rewarding, and it's really helped drive our marketing forward, like in leaps and bounds.
Awesome. And then like, what would you say like your biggest thing has been just like working with us in general? Like, what has been the easy, like, have you found the process be super easy for you? If you can kind of explain that, go into that.
Yeah, no, totally, man. Like I said, it's just like the hands-offness of it all. Like it's been able to add a huge amount of extra marketing and PR and content for us to be able to promote and share and send out to our network and everything. And I haven't had to do like anything. I work with your team. They book my meetings around my schedule that works for me. If I need to reschedule something, it's super seamless, and I don't have to worry with the back and forth. Like your guys are not only doing the outreach and finding all the great shows that would be well aligned for my message and for my, to get on and talk about my company and my journey and everything. But also just like the organization of that in terms of like booking the meetings, if we have to change the meetings and stuff, your team handles all of that. So we get so much for such little effort, like it doesn't require anything off me. All I have to do is like come on and have a great conversation. I get to talk about my brand, get to talk about my team and all the great projects we're doing, and all this fun stuff about my journey. And I literally don't have to do like any of the other, I don't have to do any of the hard stuff. I don't have to do any of the management of the process of getting all, all the back and forth to schedule things, stuff. It's a pain in the ass. And you guys handle all that. So it's great.
Awesome, man.